military-grade equipment and weapons in Bawku following the killing of at least 6 suspects in Ghana's most volatile conflict zone. The Ghana Armed Forces has issued a statement in the last couple of hours indicating that they were compelled to, quote, neutralize 6 suspects following a gun exchange after they cordoned and searched an area of the conflict zone in that part of the country in the Upper East region. Tonight, the Upper East Regional Security Council has been holding an emergency meeting. The military tell us that they're now discovering that the call them combatants in the area are now disguising themselves as military personnel, making it difficult for citizens to tell the difference. The chairman of the Regional Security Council has been speaking in the last hour, indicating that they will also be launching their own independent probe into the killings that we saw over the last 48 hours.
The military have their own versions, and you know, in a situation like this, as I said, it's very sad that people are losing their lives.
Would there be any investigations?
Yes, we're going to do that. Yes.
When?
Yes. As I said, we are coming out with a paper very soon, probably this evening. This was kind of a battlefield, and that is what the information that we are getting. And therefore, I think that it's better for me to hear what they have put out there. We should all work with that till, we do proper investigation to know exactly what actually happened. We should also remember that these military are doing their work. We should also remember that what we are hearing, they don't go there to intentionally target to kill people. That is what they are telling us. But it is important for us to know, to go deep down and to know exactly what went wrong. And that is what RESEC will do.
Heather, the Upper East Regional Minister Stephen Yakubu. I'll take you to the Upper East region shortly, where we're expecting another statement from the Regional Security Council. We'll be speaking to our regional correspondent, Albert. But I want to bring in my colleague, Kojo Brace, who joins me in the studio right now with details from the 2 statements from the Ghana Armed Forces. And Kojo, the military tell us they were responding to a threat posed by an armed gang that had been inflicting terror on Bawku. Do we have any particular details about the activities of this gang?
Well, according to the Ghana Armed Forces, the Operation Gongon team of the force received information from the National Investigations Bureau earlier this week, which indicated that passengers on board a yellow Kia Grand Bed bus with registration number AS3672-21, which was traveling from Accra to Misiga, were attacked by unknown gunmen around Pawelga on the Bawku highways. The gunmen fired through the tire and engine compartment of the vehicle, and this bus we're talking about is currently parked at Asylum Down Bawku Divisional Police Station for investigations to be conducted. Now, it also says that one Kia Rhino truck with registration number AS7093-17 was hit, and the driver of the truck, Al-Hassan Abdallah, aged 40, from the Gonja tribe, sustained a gunshot wound on the left foot. He is currently receiving treatment at the Bawku Presbyterian Hospital. It again says that on Wednesday, 1st February 2023, gunshots were heard around South Natenga in Bawku. A patrol team rushed to the general area of the shooting, where a suspect, Abdul Malik Haruna, aged 35, from the Mamprosi tribe, was arrested. He has since been handed over to the Bawku police for further investigations. Evans.
And how did the military deal with this particular threat, and how did we end up with the fatalities that had become very controversial?
Okay, so according to the Ghana Armed Forces, in a separate incident, there was sporadic firing that were heard around Sabongari general area. A patrol team were dispatched to, or was dispatched to assess the situation, spotted unknown, and armed men at Gozesi Valley side in Sabongari. And these guys were wearing black t-shirts with black hoodies. The troops then engaged them and neutralized, and they used the word neutralized. They neutralized 6 armed men. During the engagement, some armed men took cover in a madhouse within the immediate vicinity to engage the team. One of the armed men attempted to attack troops with a cutlass but was disarmed in the process. During the operation, a local woman found with a gunshot injury on left hand was also sent to the Bawku Presbyterian Hospital by the troops for treatment. And as we speak, they say that this woman is at a particular hospital. Evans.
But here's the thing, we're also learning tonight about assailants in Bawku now in possession of military-grade equipment, weapons as well, with people now in possession also of military parts and clothing. What has the military done about this also? Well,
you remember that there's in the past there have been some operations to restrict people from getting access to these things. Now, the forces are saying that in a recent case in point, Gav arrested a man in Bawku engaged in the respraying of a vehicle in military parting colors on Wednesday, 21st December 2022. Also, report indicates some persons dressed in military parting and military color shades of clothing have been allegedly engaged in several criminal activities towards the end of last year and early, they say early this month, and I'm sure it's January they are referring to. These incidents have led to unsubstantiated allegations and circulation of false information in the media that military personnel were rather responsible for these acts because of the uniforms that these guys were wearing.
And Brace, it appears we're now going to see a ruthless approach to dealing with this particular threat of people now using military-style uniforms and equipment across the board.
Well, they are saying that they demand the maximum cooperation of all Ghanaians, including you and I, as GAF puts in stringent measures to curb the sale, wearing of military uniforms and use of military-grade equipment by unauthorized persons as it is prohibited under NLCD 177. Those who continue to violate this degree and others who who connive in this violation will be dealt with and made to face the full rigors of the law if found. So yes, Evans, they are not joking now. They want to ensure that they keep this under control.
We'll be going to the Upper East region now. Thereafter, I will bring you, we'll speak to an expert in this particular area, a former member of the Ghana Armed Forces himself, about what it means to say somebody has a military-grade equipment and a weapon in a conflict theater in a country like Ghana. Stay with us for that. Let's go to the Upper East region right now. Let's speak to Albert Sorry. It's been a flurry of activity at the Regional Security Council meeting. Albert, we understand the Regional Security Council will be relocating to Bawku itself. Why?
Evan, so this is mainly because, as the regional minister said, there are two sides to the story now. The people were accusing the military. Now the military has issued a statement with their side of the story. So as the Regional Security Council, they are going to move to Bawku to do their own investigations and to ascertain exactly what happened as far as yesterday's incident is concerned.
If you sit down and you think about it, you really don't know the reason why it is getting this way. And I think that probably there are also criminality in it. There's politics in it, criminality in it. People have their own reasons why they probably don't want this to end. So I want to appeal through this medium that, look, let's give peace a chance, because Bawku is virtually dying. And it's something that I am very, very concerned. And we are doing more initiatives, something that I don't want to talk to you about, but very soon you will see that we're going to be engaging people in the Bawku area. RESEC will probably have to move. We're planning to move to Bawku. RESEC is going to move to Bawku to engage.
Albert is still with me. Albert, the regional minister is also concerned about the activities of jihadists operating just across the border at Bawku. So now not only dealing with the Bawku conflict, which appears to be escalating, they're also concerned about jihadist threat?
Yes, Evans. In the month of January, we had a number of Burkinabe refugees trooped into the Bawku West area to seek refuge because of this same jihadist activities. And that is why the minister is concerned that now we have two problems to deal with. We can listen to him.
Our hotspot now is the jihadis in the region, no, the jihadis across the border, and also the Bawku problems. So those are the things that we discussed. Of course, there are security matters, and I can't tell you what we discussed.
What are your immediate thoughts on the happenings in Bawku leading to the death of about 7 persons allegedly shot and killed by the military?
Well, it's very sad that people have lost their lives. It's something that RESEC, we want to know what really happened. And we are going to be releasing something very soon, this afternoon, probably by the end of the day or tomorrow morning. We are very concerned that it has happened that way. But I also want to say that this troubles in Bawku is taking too long.
Albert, it talks about issuing a further release later today. Do we know what that is about, and is that out yet?
Evan, so this statement is supposed to give us the Regional Security Council's position on what's been happening and what they intend to do next. At the time we were in that media engagement with him, the statement was still being prepared. We understand that it is now ready, but it has not yet been issued to us yet. So we should be getting that hopefully before news night today.
And what about what's happening on the ground in Bawku itself?
So yesterday, when this incident took place, the youth were very charged, mainly because they felt that government was not listening to them as far as the constant reports that military were attacking them were concerned. But today things have been calm because they have seen that something is being done about it, and the military itself has spoken on the matter. So it has calmed them down, but they're still waiting for what the Regional Security Council will do next in terms of, investigations and all of that.
Albert, thank you very much. So the military has issued a statement today denying rumors that they had indiscriminately killed some individuals in Bawku. However, they talk about neutralizing some 6 suspects. Let's bring in the former colonel in the Ghana Armed Forces, retired Colonel Festus Abaji, a security analyst himself, and joins us on the telephone line right now. Thank you very much, Uncle Festus.
Thank you for having me.
So when the military says they neutralize 6, what does that mean in military parlance?
Well, if I read the statement very well, and indeed if I understood the statement, I don't think they neutralize the 6. They neutralize the fire that was coming from the sporadic firings, including whoever had hidden in a madhouse. So technically, neutralization means putting a damper on the adverse effects of the fire that comes from a weapon or weapons. Now, these weapons might come from a position. In that context, neutralizing the position means that virtually silencing the guns or the weapons, implying that maybe the position was destroyed and the people were killed. If I read into the statement very well, I should want to understand that the 6 people were killed by the military in the process of the military silencing the position from where the 6 were delivering the sporadic firing. Now, this calls into question another terminology that was used in one of the statements that I read, that is the rules of engagement. We all need to be clear that we are not at war. What is happening in Bawku is not a war. It's an internal security situation involving citizens of Ghana from different ethnic groups, albeit with some undertone or political undertones. So the rules of engagement should not necessarily be that you're killing Ghanaians or killing those who are, sporadically firing their weapons. If those weapons were being used against other communities or were being used to destroy property as life and property, then the rules of engagement would demand that the security force, in this case the Ghana Armed Forces, use fire or firepower to neutralize the position or the group that is using their weapons to kill people or destroy property. The statement the Ghana Armed Forces has issued does not indicate that the people who were sporadically firing their weapons were engaged in any destruction or killing. And I think we need to put that in context.
So, as it stands currently, the questions around the rules of engagement is one. So, in the military circles, then, how will this be addressed? We know the Regional Security Council says they also want to do their own probe into this matter because of the concerns and the potential that this will further inflame passions. How should this be resolved? The military tends not to allow external inquiries into it. But, of course, you've raised a very legitimate question. How does the state, the Security Council, the National Security apparatus resolve it?
Well, we need, first of all, to have a clear understanding of the concept of operations of the military. I don't think that the use of force alone is what the military is resorting to bring the situation in Bawku under control. In this situation that I refer to as internal security, there's a lot of room for dialogue, for mediation. And I want to believe that as part of this application, the authorities, including the military, would have formed joint monitoring groups. Even the patrols that they talked about should be jointly organized to include different elements from the different factions. It's a confidence building measure because the military alone cannot bring the situation in Bawku under control. Why this is serious also is that I think the regional minister or whoever spoke referred to the population displacement from Burkina Faso, which is creating a kind of humanitarian situation in our northern areas. That is only one side of it. The other side of it is that in this kind of situation, the more you kill one faction, the more you drive that faction to extremities. And they are very close to the border. So it will not be surprising that if they are pushed to the wall, whichever faction that is, it could be the Kusasis, it could be the Mamposis, it could be whichever community, the Mobes and so on. They could seek, some support from whichever groups are on the other side of the northern border. And therefore, part of the strategy should be to ensure that we don't drive any of the factions to the point where they align with other groups in Burkina Faso. It demands a lot of careful planning. And I would wish to probably request that all sides, the ethnic groups who are Ghanaians, as well as the authorities, the Regional Security Committee and so on, armed forces, must exercise a lot of restraint. Because if we stand only on the use of force, we will escalate, the situation, and that will have dire consequences.
I mean, Colonel, what about the revelations tonight about the inclusion in this
Mhm.
conflict theater
Mhm.
of military-grade equipment and weapons. First of all,
Mhm.
what is that, and how alarming should we be at the fact that this is now entered the theater of conflict?
Well, first of all, this should not come as a surprise to anybody, whether within Ghana or outside. There are a lot of reports that we've been referring to, in the media about the proliferation of small arms and light weapons. So even before this conflict, weapons were, moving into this country. And therefore, when you have a conflict like this, those who are behind the mobilization know where to source their weapons and ammunition from. And some of the weapons that are being proliferated have been military-grade weapons or military-type weapons. The AK-47s, which is of global, proliferation. There are grenades, fragmentation grenades. Maybe there are mortars. Maybe there are machine guns. The good thing is that the Ghana Armed Forces has not reported anywhere that anybody has broken into their armories and stolen their weapons, nor has the Ghana Police Service, with the exception of a few isolated cases. So, military-grade weapons, yes. But it should not be in the event of this kind of conflict a couple of days ago that the regional security is now trying to suggest that they are worried about military-grade weapons. The intelligence should have been pointing to that. And there should have been strategies and actions in order to plug the holes and to stem the flow of weapons into the conflict area. Because for as long as the weapons flow into the Bawku conflict area, the flow will become a prolongation factor to prolong the conflict. So part of the strategies that the government should be putting in place is to try and ensure that, one, weapons that are there already stay there, while the authorities look for the weapons, including neutralizing weapons. But two, more important, to ensure that the flow of weapons into the Bawku conflict is limited.
Ken, I'm grateful that you joined me with your thoughts on this very troubling news tonight from Bawku, where the military talking about the influx of military-grade equipment into the conflict area. Now, another big concern for the Regional Security Council has been the activities of jihadists just across the border at Bawku. One man who has kept a close eye on this is security analyst Adam Bonner, joins us on the telephone line right now. Mr. Bonner, I'm grateful for your time here on Top Story.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
I mean, so the jihadist activity is one that the Regional Security Council, with the chairman talking about today after the Regional Security Council meeting, the emergency one, that's another thing they're concerned about. If you put that together with this talk now by the Ghana Armed Forces of the influx of military-grade equipment, is there a suggestion possibly that the conflict on the other side, with jihadists in operation just around the border, may be influencing the escalation we're possibly seeing in Bawku?
Yes, obviously, Evans. I think I've raised this a couple of months ago last year, to the effect that we seem to be seeing a change in practice where the young people in Bawku, anyone who has visited Bawku in the last 1 year will tell you that Bawku is a war zone. It's not, it doesn't look like the way we are describing it. It's a complete war zone. If you actually go to where the military are camped, the 11th mechanized, units in Bawku who are based in Bawku, they will tell you, even they themselves sometimes have become overwhelmed. And in recent days, I have intercepted some audios from some young people in Bawku threatening that they have what it takes to flush out the military. You must be prepared to actually make such a statement and come out and put a statement out. And so as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a worrying trend we are seeing where the young people, allegedly seem to be engaging the military in this kind of conflict. Meanwhile, we know what the military are there to do. So as far as I'm concerned, Evans, yes, I do also have that intel that we've had some suspected jihadis who attempted something in the country, even though that was not publicly put out there, around that area. And so it is important to have, a thorough investigation conducted to know whether do we have some terrorists who have infiltrated, in Bawku, who have come in there to aid probably their friends and family, or if they support which side, and have come to foment trouble. Because then what is going on? Listen, the sporadic fighting the military indicated, it didn't start today. Anybody who is in Bawku will tell you. But sometimes in the night, you would have some informants who communicate with me, would call me and put it and ask me to listen, the shooting that is going on in the night. And it can go on sometime for 15 minutes. And you can hear machine gun, powerful machine gun, shooting all over the place. And so I don't know whether the state is being negligent. I think the state should pay a bit more attention to the conflict in Bawku, if you ask me, Ivan.
Thank you, Adam Bona. Just while we've been speaking, the Regional Security Council has issued another statement. Albert Sore is a regional correspondent. Albert, what is it that we're now reading in that statement?
Yes, Evan. So,
hello, Albert.
Hello, Evan. So the statement released just a while ago by the Regional Coordinating Council is basically asking the people of Bawku to remain calm. They start by sympathizing with the families of the recent incident. And the statement reads, RECSEC sympathizes with the bereaved families of all the unfortunate incidents as a result of the conflict that has been ongoing in the Bawku area for some time now. It goes on to say, RECSEC calls on the people of Bawku to remain calm as it works to bring lasting peace to Bawku. And then it says, again, RECSEC appeals to both factions to desist from any attempt to engage the military in combat, since that will be catastrophic on the part of the civilians. We should therefore be charting a peaceful roadmap for Bawku. Meanwhile, arrangements are being made by the RECSEC to engage the good people of Bawku with the aim of bringing down the tension in the area. In conclusion, the statement reads, the indigents of Bawku and its environs are reminded to adhere to all security measures put in place by RECSEC. And the statement is signed by Alhaji Abubakar Inusa, who is the Chief Director for the Regional Coordinating Council.
Albert, thank you very much.